I was standing in my own kitchen, coffee mug halfway to my lips, when my fiance's phone buzzed on the counter between us. He glanced at it. His face went sheet white. And before I could ask what was wrong, he said the 5 words that would unravel everything. Babe, I need to tell you something. But here's the kicker. It wasn't his confession. It was hers. My best friend since college. The woman who'd helped me pick out my wedding dress 3 months earlier. And what she told me that morning, with the kind of certainty people reserve for obvious truths like gravity or death, well, let's just say I learned that betrayal doesn't always come with a warning label. Look, I know you probably clicked on this thinking you already know how this story ends. Trust me, you don't. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe button right now, because this is the kind of mess that'll make your own life look like a Hallmark movie. And honestly, I could use the company while I walk you through the absolute circus that became my life. Let me rewind 6 months. My name is Vivian, Viv to most people, and at 32, I genuinely thought I'd figured life out. I was working as a junior architect at a firm in downtown Chicago, living in a renovated brownstone in Wicker Park with my fiance, Tyler. We'd been together 4 years, engaged for 8 months, and honestly, things were good. Really good. The kind of good where you stop waiting for the other shoe to drop because you've convinced yourself you're past all that. Tyler was a software engineer at some fintech startup that had just gone through Series B funding, which meant he was suddenly making the kind of money that made my architecture salary look like pocket change. But he never made me feel small about it. He was thoughtful like that. Remembered how I took my coffee, knew I needed silence for exactly 30 minutes after a bad day at work before I could talk about it. And then there was Simone. Simone had been my best friend since sophomore year at Northwestern. We'd lived together junior year in that absolute dump on Sherman Avenue, you know the type, radiator that sounded like a dying moose, landlord who thought fixing things meant duct tape and prayer. We'd survived that, survived bad boyfriends, worse hangovers, her mom's cancer scare, my dad's affair that nearly ended my parents' marriage. She was the sister I chose, the person who knew me better than I knew myself. Or so I thought. The thing about betrayal is that it doesn't announce itself. It doesn't walk through your front door wearing a name tag that says, "Hi, I'm here to destroy your life." It creeps in, shows up in little moments you don't think to question. Like in April, when Simone started texting Tyler more often. They'd always been friendly. You want your partner and your best friend to get along, right? That's the dream. But suddenly it was constant. I'd come home and he'd be laughing at his phone. "Simone sent me this meme," he'd say, showing me some joke about JavaScript or whatever. I'd laugh too, because why wouldn't I? Or when she started having emergencies that specifically required Tyler's help. Her laptop died, Tyler could fix it. Her car was making a weird noise. Tyler knew cars. Her sink was leaking. And yeah, Tyler had watched approximately 2 YouTube videos about plumbing, but sure, he was basically Bob Vila. "She doesn't have anyone else," Tyler would say, grabbing his keys. "Her ex really did a number on her." And that part was true. Simone's ex, Brandon, had been a piece of work. Investment banker type, thought his money meant he owned people. They'd been together 3 years, and when it ended 8 months ago, right around when Tyler and I got engaged, actually, it was brutal. He'd cheated on her with a paralegal from his firm. Simone had found out via an Instagram story, of all things, some candid photo tagged at a boutique hotel in Napa. She was devastated. Stayed on my couch for 2 weeks straight, crying through entire boxes of Clinics while we watched The Good Place and ate deep dish pizza from Lou Malminati's. I'd held her hair back when she threw up from crying too hard, let her borrow my clothes because she couldn't stand to go back to the apartment she'd shared with Brandon. So yeah, when she needed help, of course Tyler went. That's what good people do, right? They show up. I should have paid attention to how often he was showing up. By May, Tyler was at Simone's apartment in Lincoln Park at least twice a week. "She's still struggling," he'd tell me. "I think she's depressed. She barely leaves the house." "Maybe she should talk to someone," I suggested one night, trying not to sound annoyed that he was canceling our plans again. "We were supposed to catch a Cubs game. I'd bought tickets back in March." "I mentioned that," Tyler said, shrugging on his jacket, She got defensive, said I was calling her crazy. That's not what therapy means. I know that, Viv, but she's fragile right now. I'm just trying to be there for her. And what could I say to that? Stop being a good person? So I said nothing. Here's what I didn't know. While I was staying late at the office working on renders for the Peterson project, this massive mixed-use development in the South Loop that was going to make or break my chances at promotion, Tyler and Simone were having dinner. Not fast food, not pizza. Actual sit-down dinners at places like Girl and the Goat, Gibson's, that French place in Gold Coast where they make the duck confit that costs $48. I know this because I found the receipts later. But we'll get there. In June, Simone finally started feeling better. She called me one Saturday morning, sounding like her old self for the first time in months. Viv, okay, don't kill me, but I need you to come dress shopping with me. Dress shopping for what? There's this charity gala thing for work next month. Super fancy, black tie, the whole thing. I need a knockout dress, and you're the only person I trust not to let me look ridiculous. I should have been happy. This was progress, right? She was getting back out there. Instead, there was this weird knot in my stomach I couldn't explain. Sure, I said anyway. When? We went that afternoon. Hit up Bloomingdale's, Saks, some boutique on Oak Street that smelled like money and intimidation. She tried on maybe 20 dresses and finally found the one, this emerald green number that hugged every curve, had a slit up to there, looked like it was designed specifically to make men forget their own names. What do you think? She turned in the mirror, and even I had to admit, she looked incredible. You look amazing. Yeah? She bit her lip, studying herself. You think Brandon will lose his mind when he sees the photos? There it is, I thought. Still hung up on the ex, still trying to prove something. Simone, why do you care what Brandon thinks? I don't. I want him to see what he lost, you know? I knew. God, I knew that feeling. When my college boyfriend dumped me for his teaching assistant, I'd spent 3 months hitting the gym and posting thirst traps. It's human nature. We want them to regret it. He'll lose his mind, I assured her. She bought the dress. That night, Tyler came home late. Again. Where were you? Simone needed help moving some furniture. He collapsed on the couch, exhausted. Her landlord's finally letting her break the lease early, so she's getting a new place. Smaller, more affordable. That's great. I sat next to him, rested my head on his shoulder. Hey, she seems like she's doing better. We went dress shopping today. He felt him tense, just slightly, just enough. Yeah? For what? Some gala thing for work. That's good. That's really good. He kissed the top of my head. See? I told you she'd be okay. Something in his voice was off. Too casual. Too practiced. But I ignored it. That was my first mistake. July hit Chicago like a sledgehammer. 98 degrees, humidity that made the air feel like soup, everyone miserable and short-tempered. The AC in our brownstone was from approximately 1987 and kept making this grinding noise that Tyler kept promising to look at eventually. I'd been spending more time at the office anyway. The Peterson project was consuming my life. We were in that phase where every detail mattered, where one wrong measurement could throw off the entire design. My boss, Patricia, was writing me hard, but in that way where you know she's grooming you for something bigger. You keep this up, Vivian, and you'll be leading your own projects by fall, she had said one afternoon, reviewing my latest revisions. That was the dream. That was the whole point. So, when Tyler said he and Simone were grabbing dinner, she needs advice about the new apartment, I barely looked up from my laptop. Okay, have fun. You want me to bring you back something? I'm good. There's leftover Thai in the fridge. He kissed my forehead and left. I worked until almost midnight, finally perfected the facade design, sent it to Patricia with a triumphant email subject line, I think we've got it. Then I cracked open a beer, put on The Office, and waited for Tyler to come home. 1 a.m. came, then 2. I texted him, "You still out?" No response. At 2:47 a.m., my phone rang. Tyler. "Hey, sorry I didn't see your text. Where are you?" My voice came out sharper than intended. Still at Simone's. We got talking and lost track of time. I'm gonna crash on her couch, okay? Too tired to drive. Something cold settled in my chest. Tyler, it's 3 in the morning. I know. I'm sorry. We'll talk tomorrow. He hung up before I could respond. I sat there, beer getting warm in my hand, television flickering, and thought, this is fine. This is normal. Friends lose track of time. But I didn't believe it. Not even a little. He came home the next morning, looking sheepish, carrying bagels from that place on Milwaukee Avenue I loved. Peace offering. I'm really sorry about last night. What were you guys even talking about until 3 a.m.? Just life stuff, her new place, Brandon, work drama. She's going through it, Viv. She's been going through it for 8 months. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Never mind. I grabbed a bagel, cream cheese, didn't look at him. Did you at least sleep? A couple hours on the couch? He said on the couch too emphatically, like he needed me to know specifically where he had slept. Red flag number 2000, and I was still ignoring them all. The gala was July 23rd. Simone had been texting me photos of her preparation process. Hair appointment, spray tan, the works. That emerald dress sedan, this time with gold heels, I knew cost at least $400. Wish me luck, she texted that night around 7. Time to show Chicago what they've been missing. You're gonna kill it, I responded. Send pics. Tyler and I had plans. Nothing fancy, just dinner at this Italian place in our neighborhood, maybe catch a movie after. Normal couple stuff. The kind of stuff we hadn't done in months. You clean up nice, I told him, when he came out in dark jeans and that navy button-down I loved. You're not so bad yourself. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. All through dinner, he was distracted, checking his phone every 5 minutes. Everything okay? Yeah, sorry. Work thing. On a Saturday night? Yeah, the team lead is freaking out about this bug in the new build. He put the phone face down on the table. It's handled. Let's order dessert. We split the tiramisu, walked home slowly because the weather had finally broken, evening air actually pleasant for once. He held my hand, made small talk about the movie we'd missed, maybe next weekend. Everything seemed fine. Everything was not fine. Around midnight, I woke up to use the bathroom. Tyler wasn't in bed. I found him in the living room, sitting in the dark, illuminated only by his phone screen. Tyler? He jumped like he'd been electrocuted. Jesus, you scared me. What are you doing? Nothing, just checking work Slack. In the dark? At midnight? Couldn't sleep. He locked his phone quickly. Too quickly. Come on, let's go back to bed. I should have pushed it. Should have asked to see his phone. Should have demanded answers. Instead, I let him guide me back to bed, where I lay awake for another hour, staring at the ceiling, listening to him pretend to sleep. Sunday morning, Simone called me. Not texted. Called. At 9 a.m., which was early for her on a weekend. How was the gala? I asked, groggy. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Viv, I feel like myself again. Like actually myself, you know? That's great, Sim. I'm really happy for you. I saw Brandon there, with the paralegal. Oh, God. How was that? Honestly, I didn't even care. Like, I saw them and felt nothing. Isn't that wild? It was wild. Simone had been obsessed with Brandon for months. And now suddenly she'd moved on? What changed? I asked. There was a pause. Too long. I don't know. I think I just realized there are better people out there. People who actually deserve me. Good. You deserve someone amazing. Thanks, Viv. Hey, I gotta run, but let's get lunch this week. I miss you. Yeah, sounds good. After we hung up, I sat there with my coffee, and that cold feeling in my chest was back. Stronger now. Something was wrong. I just couldn't see it yet. The breaking point came on a Thursday, August 5th. I'll never forget the date. I'd left work early, migraine that felt like an ice pick behind my left eye, and came home to an empty apartment. Tyler's laptop was on the kitchen table, open, logged into his email. I'm not proud what I did next, but I looked. And at the top of his inbox was an email from Simone, subject line, "Last night." My hands were shaking as I clicked it open. Tyler, I can't stop thinking about last night. I know we said we'd wait, that we needed to figure things out first, but God, being with you, I haven't felt that way in years, maybe ever. I know this is complicated. I know what this means for Viv, but you have to tell her. We can't keep doing this. She deserves to know the truth. She deserves to know that we're in love. S. The words blurred. The migraine was suddenly nothing compared to the pain cracking through my chest. I read it again, then again. We're in love. I don't remember the next hour clearly. I think I sat on the kitchen floor. I know I cried. I know I threw up in the sink, this horrible, retching sob that felt like my body trying to expel poison. Being with you. Last night. What had happened last night? I'd worked late. Tyler said he was having drinks with his work friend, Calvin. He'd come home around 11, normal as ever, kissed me goodnight, fallen asleep within minutes. Or had he? I went into our bedroom, like a detective now, looking for evidence I'd been trained not to see. His clothes from last night? Were they in the hamper? Yes. Did they smell of perfume? I couldn't tell. My nose was still running from crying. His phone? Where was his phone? I found it on the nightstand, charging. Tried his passcode. My birthday. 0517. Invalid passcode. He'd changed it. When the hell had you changed it? I tried again. Tyler's birthday. Invalid. Our anniversary. Invalid. The phone locked me out after the third attempt. I sat on our bed, where we'd planned our wedding, where we'd mapped out our future, where I believed I was safe, and I called Simone. It rang 4 times, then, "Hey, Viv, what's up?" She sounded happy, cheerful, like she hadn't blown up my entire life via email. "I need you to tell me the truth." Pause. About what? About Tyler. The silence that followed told me everything. Viv, how long? I don't. What are you? How long? I heard her breathing. Heard her making some calculation about what I knew, what I'd found, how much she could still deny. "Since June," she whispered, finally. June. 2 months. While I'd been working myself to death, chasing promotions, planning our wedding, she'd been... "The gala," I said. "That wasn't for work, was it?" "It was for work, but I invited Tyler as my +1. The emerald dress. The spray tan. The $400 shoes. She dressed up like that for him? Did you sleep with him? My voice sounded foreign, flat, like someone else was talking. Viv, please. Did you sleep with him? Yes. She was crying now, too. Yes, but not until after the gala. We'd been fighting it for weeks, trying to do the right thing, but that night, after we laughed, it happened. And then it kept happening. Viv, I'm so sorry. We never meant for this to... I hung up. Sat there, phone in my hand, and thought about every moment I'd missed, every late night, every emergency, every time I'd told myself I was being paranoid, insecure, ridiculous. The sink, the laptop, the furniture, none of it had been real. It had all been foreplay. Tyler came home at 6:30, Chinese takeout in hand, completely oblivious. Hey, got your favorite, Kung Pao chicken, extra spicy. How's your head? I was sitting at the kitchen table. His laptop was still open in front of me, Simone's email still on the screen. He saw it. The color drained from his face. Viv, don't. Let me explain. Don't you dare. I stood up, surprised my legs worked. 2 months. You've been sleeping with my best friend for 2 months. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like, Tyler? Please, enlighten me. He set the takeout down, ran his hands through his hair. It just happened. We were spending so much time together, helping her through the breakup, and we connected. Really connected. And I tried to fight it. I swear to God I tried, but what? You just accidentally fell onto her? Multiple times? I love her. 3 words. That's all it took. You love her, I repeated. I didn't mean for it to happen. Neither of us did. But yeah, I love her. And she loves me. And Viv, I'm so sorry, but I can't keep pretending. Get out. What? Get out of my apartment. It's our apartment. It's my apartment. My name is on the lease, my furniture, my goddamn life that you just decided to detonate. So get whatever you can carry and get the hell out. To his credit, he didn't argue. Just went into our bedroom, my bedroom now, and started throwing things into a duffel bag. Clothes, laptop charger, toiletries. Where's your ring? What? Your engagement ring. The one I saved for 6 months to buy. Where is it? He pulled it from his pocket, set it on the counter between us. I was gonna tell you, he said quietly. This weekend, Simone and I talked about it. We were gonna tell you together so you could hear it from both of us. How considerate! Viv, you don't get to call me that anymore. You don't get to use my nickname. You don't get to act like we're friends. You don't get to pretend any of this is okay. You destroyed me. Both of you. The 2 people I trusted most in this world, and you destroyed me. He looked like he wanted to argue, to justify, to make me understand. Instead, he picked up his bag and walked out. The door clicked shut, and I was alone. That was 3 months ago. I wish I could tell you I handled it gracefully, that I took the high road, focused on healing, emerged like a phoenix from the ashes of my old life. I didn't. I called out of work for a week. Patricia was understanding. Take the time you need. But I could hear the disappointment. The Peterson project was hitting critical deadlines. They needed me. I couldn't be what anyone needed. My mom flew in from Phoenix, found me in roughly the same position I'd been when Simone stayed on my couch. Unwashed, surrounded by takeout containers, watching reality TV because it was the only thing that didn't remind me of my own life. Oh, honey, was all she said. Then she sat down next to me and held my hand for 3 hours while I cried. The worst part is that they're still together. Tyler and Simone. I found out through Instagram, of all places. Saw it on a mutual friend's story. The 2 of them at some rooftop bar in River North, his arm around his waist, both of them looking at each other like they'd invented love. She was wearing the emerald dress. I blocked them both immediately, blocked everyone who might post about them, retreated into a bubble where they simply didn't exist. But Chicago's not that big, especially not our Chicago, our neighborhood, our restaurants, our whole life that I thought was ours, but turned out to be just mine, alone. Patricia called me in mid-September. The Peterson project broke ground yesterday. Your design, your vision. Vivian, the clients loved it. They've already asked if you'll consult on the interior phase. That's great, I said, and meant maybe 40% of it. It is great. It's exactly what you've been working toward. She paused. But you're not yourself. You haven't been since, Well, since everything. I'm fine. You're not. And that's okay. But V, and I'm saying this as someone who cares about you, not just as your boss, you have to decide if you're going to let this break you or build you. Cliché? Maybe. But she was right. So, I made changes. Rearranged the furniture so the apartment looked different. Painted the bedroom walls from the beige Tyler had picked to a deep blue I'd always wanted. Got a cat from the shelter, a grumpy orange tabby I named Ruth Bader Ginsburg because she had that same "I've seen your nonsense and I'm not impressed" energy. Threw myself back into work. Picked up the Peterson project with renewed focus. Started saying yes to things. Drinks with colleagues, a pottery class in Logan Square, a hiking group that met Sunday mornings in the forest preserves. Slowly, carefully, I built a life that was mine. Not ours, not theirs. Mine. But here's the thing nobody tells you about betrayal. It doesn't end. You don't just heal and move on. It lives in you, changes how you see people, how you trust, whether you trust. I went on a date last month. Nice guy, environmental lawyer. We met at a friend's housewarming party. He was funny, smart, politically engaged, exactly the kind of person I should want to get to know. We got coffee, talked for 2 hours. He asked for my number, and I said no. Because the whole time we were talking, all I could think was, what if? What if he's like Tyler? What if 6 months from now I'm in love with him and he decides I'm not enough? What if his ex suddenly needs him? What if I'm just a placeholder until someone better comes along? What if I'm not worth staying for? I saw Simone last week. I was at Mariano's buying groceries, trying to decide between 2 types of pasta sauce, as if it mattered, as if anything mattered. When I looked up, and there she was. Cart full of organic produce and those expensive crackers she loved. Hair different, longer, highlighted. She looked good. She looked happy. Our eyes met across the pasta aisle, and for a second neither of us moved. Then she opened her mouth to apologize, to explain, to pretend we were still people who spoke to each other. I turned around and walked away. Left my half-full cart right there in the middle of the store, walked up to my car, sat in the parking lot for 20 minutes, just breathing. Because that's the other thing about betrayal. You don't get closure. There's no magical conversation where suddenly it all makes sense, where you forgive them and they forgive themselves, and everyone moves forward healed and whole. Sometimes people just break you and move on with their lives. And you have to figure out how to keep living in a world where that's possible. So here I am, 33 now, single, throwing myself into my career because at least buildings don't like you. The math either works or it doesn't. The design either stands or it falls. The Peterson project opens next spring, my first major project with my name on it. Patricia's already talking about what's next, bigger developments, leadership roles. Mom asks every week if I'm dating. I tell her I'm focused on work. What I don't tell her, I'm terrified. Terrified of trusting someone again. Terrified of being that person who sits at her kitchen table reading an email that destroys her world. Terrified that maybe Tyler was right. Maybe there was something missing in me, something that made it easy for him to choose someone else. I don't know if I'll ever have an answer. I don't know if Tyler and Simone will last, or if karma is real, or if there's some cosmic justice waiting in the wings. What I do know, I survived. I'm still here, still working, still trying, still figuring out how to be a person in a world that feels fundamentally unsafe. And maybe that's enough. Maybe survival is the point. Look, I know that was heavy. Trust me, living through it was worse. But if you made it this far, if you sat through this whole mess with me, I have to ask, what would you have done? Would you have seen the signs earlier? Would you have fought for the relationship or walked away faster? Drop a comment and let me know, because honestly, I'm still trying to figure out if I handled this right, or if I should have done something, anything differently. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the like button. More stories coming soon. Some messier than this one, if you can believe it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. It helps more than you know.